from a. Uh-oh. Are we not recording there, Dr. D? I got to pop up. Okay, that's all right. We'll keep going. Let me start, or do you want me to start over? We're not that far in. Yeah, let's just start from the top. Let's.
All right. And this is take two in 3, 2, 1.
Welcome to the Jeremiah Show, take 2. The Boston Music Series continues. Boston. Now I'm all screwed up, Doctor. Let's do it one more time.
All right, one more. 3, 2, 1.
Welcome to the Jeremiah Show. The Boston Music Scene Series continues. And it's brought to you by Alt Indie Rocks radio owner Marc Platt, good friend of the show. And we're actually on Alt Indie Rock Radio out there in Boston. And we're talking today to and playing the new album by longtime Boston band Devil Love. And from Boston today is frontman Peter Buzzelle. He's joining us, I believe, from Boston. Is that right, Peter?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm in Jamaica Plain, actually.
Right.
Neighborhood of Boston.
I always like to know where you're at. I like to imagine where you're coming from. And so I was, I was thinking about this. Sometimes this is a thankless job. This poor lonely us, Dr. D, in this lonely radio station here in Santa Barbara, and with all these green screens around us, going a little nuts, and we don't get a lot of thanks for it. But we don't need it. That's not why we're here. We enjoy talking to artists and musicians like Peter, and I have a feeling that you are really going to thank me today for turning you on to Devil Love. If you already haven't heard them or know of them, they're going to be one of your new favorite bands. They're going to be everywhere. I just love this new album. When I get a CV from a band manager, one of the first things that I read on that is, or a bio, is quote unquote, they sound like this. And all bands have to do this. Every single band that sends me their bio or their package does this. It's part of the package, and sometimes it's helpful. But as a radio host, sometimes I am tempted to fall into that trap of lazy journalism and just read off the music comparisons that they send me, rather than coming up with my own thing. And I don't like that. I would imagine as a member of the band, like, it's tempting. It's like there's a chocolate cake in front of you and you just want to take a bite. I would imagine as a band member that the comparisons can get a little annoying by different radio interviews, different hosts around the country, interview after interview, being compared to someone else. So I listened to their music, and I want you to do that for me today. Listen to the music. It's beautifully written and orchestrated. This album is expertly crafted music. It's for me, was an enjoyable experience. And I have that new album, at least 7 songs today, and a world premiere. The album is titled Devil Love. During the break, I'll direct you how you can get it. Throughout this interview, we're playing 7 songs, as I mentioned, from Devil Love. It's out now on Spotify and Bandcamp. The 10-cut debut, Devil Love, self-titled, is released on Red Records, and they're out of Boston, Massachusetts. At the very end of the show, we're playing What We Got, world premiere. So stay tuned there. All right. Welcome, Peter. Love that album.
Thank you, Jeremiah. Thank you. Happy to be here talking with you today.
I'm happy you're here. How is that nor'easter out there? You guys, you safe and dry, I hope, and warm?
It was wimpy. We have these big reports of snow and rain, and where I am, I'm in like I said before, I'm in Jamaica Plain, which is a neighborhood of Boston, just a little south of the city center. Been here about 20 years in this area, and we didn't really get it. We friends and family up north of Boston in New Hampshire and such got hit pretty hard. But I mean, there's not a drop of snow on the ground out there today in my neighborhood. So New England for you.
Yeah. Kind of the weathermen in California, Southern California, where we're at, and I always feel sorry for them because they just say that they've got nothing to report on, and so I think they're just super excited right now because we've got some rain. That
Oh yeah,
I
I
was
heard.
watching
Yes.
the national news in Santa Barbara was mentioned in the weather report for once, and I thought, I bet that's never happened before. Uh,
Yeah, I was communicating with my friend Henry yesterday. He has a band called Aloud out of Los Angeles, and I said, "Well, it's nice and sunny there today." And he said, "No, actually, it's raining." Wow. Okay.
yeah, it actually was a little sunny, but it looks, I think it's, if you look out the window, it's dark and cloudy again. Well,
Oh,
Peter, Jamaica
yes.
Plain, did I say it right? Jamaica Plain?
Yeah. Yeah.
Describe that. The neighborhood, because I actually, it's in that area is in movies a lot, isn't it? That it's kind of a famous.
Yeah. So what do we have? We had some. Well, of course, there's Matt Damon. Of course, he in man. They were filming a movie actually recently at in the North End, which is on the other side of Boston, near me, but where we get cannolis. And there was an announcement that they were closing the local bakery down in the North End because they were filming a movie. Yeah, I think with Boston,
How did people react to that? Because you could care less about a movie
they
being
don't give
filmed, right? You're
a
like,
shit.
I
Yeah,
just
like they
cannoli.
just don't care. Nobody cares. We will. I mean, we love Boston. We love our people here, but and lots of Damon love and such, but yeah.
Like what kind of you know, just work, like blue collar, like salt to the earth, just great people live there, or what, describe the.
Yeah, I mean, I run a residential remodeling company, so I'm a carpenter by trade. So I have a small business. I've been
That was my dad.
yeah.
Mhm.
So I renovate people's homes, their kitchens and their bathrooms and porches and such. So that's what I've done, to keep food on the table, but still keeping the passion of music alive. So when I was younger, and I would work carpentry, and then we'd get in the van and do some touring until we didn't have any money left, and then I go back and do some more carpentry. Um, it kind of worked hand in hand, I think, and then I think that is a common theme among musicians, in this day and age, and has been since I've been, doing music and such. So yeah, Boston is one of those places where once it gets a hold of you, it doesn't really let you go, which is a positive thing. I actually spend quite a bit of time on the West Coast also, and I have friends and family there, and I lived in the Northwest, so I had a kind of both sides of it, and I adore the people in the area, both. But Boston's my home. It's where my family
Mhm.
is, where I was born. I was born in Lowell, so. Yeah. 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 Cool.
Again, I'm going to go back to your album and the music that you sent me, and I was up at 2 a.m. this morning listening to it. I was.
Yeah.
I keep telling people this. I've got dark circles. It's all it's all devil love's fault.
Yeah.
When I enter you could feel your love for the music. You could feel you and your bandmates. I could really feel the uh, how you approached the music. I mean, it felt like you take it really seriously, but
Definitely.
not so seriously that it's not enjoyable. But I mean, it really felt like professional musicians putting together the music. And you know what, it made me sit up a little straighter. And when I interview a band of your caliber, I must admit, I get a little rush of adrenaline.
Oh,
And
Jared, that's very lovely to
that
hear. Yeah.
anticipation, right? It's that anticipation of something great that is about to happen,
Hmm.
to me, as a listener. And so then the pressure is on me to
Oh,
match and honor your work in some small way. And so like I said, I think it feels like you and your mates obviously worked very hard on this album. You
yeah.
guys are tight. There wasn't one single song that to me isn't or couldn't be a hit standing on its own. And like I told you before we started, I don't say that unless it's true. I don't just give out. And I listened to one other band, and they were actually from Boston, and Marc sent them to me a few months ago that I liked every track. And I can't remember the last time that happened. It probably like for me, probably in the 80s or 90s, I don't even know. But I think it's very rare to come across an album like yours.
Oh wow, that's very high praise, and I appreciate that.
But
I'm humbled.
well, thank you. It's a gift. It's a gift, and I want to get to know you. But I'm throwing a bunch of compliments at you, and I'm probably embarrassing you, but I mean it, And I want others that they'll hear. We're coming up. We're going to play some music, and I think everyone is going to agree by the end of this show that that it's a really great album. So here's the best, and I'll be my final compliment. But here's the best compliment that I can say about music that I love when I fall in love with music.
Yeah.
Your album, Devil Love, made me wish that it was summertime right now and warm outside, and I could jump in my car and drive. With the windows down, sun in the rear view window, your music playing loud. That's it. It was like a road trip album. Like I could drive down the coast and really enjoy this. So, did this album come easily for all of you, or was it much harder than it sounds? Meaning,
Oh, well, yeah. I guess what I would say about that. I am the songwriter of the group, so most of the music originates, from me. So I it's my passion in life. So I love music, always have. I started out as a drummer when I was younger, and then kind of built, my musical career around that. And as I got older, I really wanted to do more and write songs, and I had played some guitar and some piano, and so kind of got more into that. And so from I kind of went back a little farther than the question you asked me, but within this band, the guys, we've been together for, better part of 5 to 10 years. Coming up on 10 with me and Chuck, who plays drums. And so there's an inherent, tightness, I guess you could say, or intuition in how we approach the music. So I come to them with the songs, and they kind of develop as a group. So, I think we also play live as much as we can around Boston, and that keeps us focused. And I think, I don't know, so some music is done in a way that inspires you to maybe do more or do things differently. So I just do what feels right to me. And we're blessed in Boston to have a music scene, and lots of resources. We work with great engineers, great mastering engineers, great, I have great musicians in my band that, I'm able to rely on. And if we need to bring in other musicians to work with, they're available to us too. So just being in Boston is an amazing resource to have. And I think as a result, like you were saying earlier, there's some great music coming out of the city, and I'm not surprised being here every day. I hear it, see it, and take part in it as much as I can.
you go check out other bands and probably know most of them, right?
Yeah, yeah, yep. It's it's fun. I have a history of, like I said earlier, being in the Northwest, in Portland, in Seattle, for many years. And that was a much smaller scene, and it was very focused on what was happening. That was, the 90s sound that we all, love. And it was very specific sound. And bands were, there were definitely bands doing other things, but it was kind of, and it was a certain thing. And now here in Boston, it's much more diverse. There's so many musicians here doing amazing music. You have the Berklee College of Music. There's a music conservatory here. New York is a few hours down the road. So there's lots of education around music, so you can get this level of musicianship. So, and the guys in my band, a lot of them are in other groups where they're involved in other creative, things. So they're bringing that music, or that inspiration or that experience to what we do, and I think it enhances, Devil Loves music. So
Do you?
it's just, yeah. Go ahead. Yeah.
I'm sorry. Go ahead. Finish yours.
No, I was just rambling on. I don't want
You
to.
guys dropped it about a month ago, almost now. How's it doing?
I think it's doing really well. There's a song out there. I think you'll play. What We Got is the name of it.
That's,
That one has gotten some really good attention. The first single was a song called "Down by the Seashore," kind of a garagey rock sound. That was fun. And then we did another song called "Straight to You," which came out, and a little more sweetness on that one, which people seem to like. So, you know, um,
I try to play as much as I can of the
yeah.
album throughout the show, but
Okay.
of the songs that you
Yeah.
give me. And but I really want people to go. There's some really beautiful arrangements, like how some of them ended, but I didn't have enough time to play that, some unique sound. And you said Boston has a really big music scene with a lot of different, variations, different interpretations, and different artists that bring it to life. Would you, is your band, would you say that you have a Boston sound, if there is such a thing?
It's an interesting question. I don't what would be the Boston sound? I mean, we think of
I don't
the
know.
history.
I'm thinking of it's yours right now. When I hear it, I'm like, that must be it. I don't know.
Say that again. You think of what? I didn't hear what you said.
You defined it for me, not
Yeah.
not knowing all the people that and the different sounds and all that.
Yeah. I mean, I think, you have the historical bands from Boston, like the Cars, or, the Aerosmith, or, Dropkick Murphys, those are three bands I just named, and they're very diverse and different. And, you know, Till Tuesday, another breakout band, right? And then
Mm.
more recent, maybe bands like Guster or something. I think maybe we align ourselves more with a band like Guster, if I'm thinking about it, like a sort of indie rock band based, um, guitar rock sort of sound. Some harmonies in there. The songs are the focus. Um,
When we opened up and I was talking about the every band has to, it sounds like this, it sounds like this, because that's what people ask. They're like, who do they sound like? What would you compare it to, right? I mean, you've just got to do that for someone that doesn't know yet. They haven't
yeah,
heard. Does that
right.
bother you? Or is it an honor to be compared to bands like Big Star and Elliott Smith?
Oh my God, if
It's
it, right.
an honor. It's itself.
I mean, hey, you sound like Big Star. Oh, okay, that's horrible. No, it's like that's the most amazing. Like, okay, thank you. I love Big Star and I love Elliott Smith. I mean, adore both of those groups. So for me as a songwriter, though, that's like the top of the mountain. For me, other folks, they're looking for something else. But I like you said earlier, you listen to music and it moves you in a way where you just want to keep listening. That's how I was when I first heard Elliott Smith. Okay, I was like, wow, this is amazing. He had a band called Heat Miser. It just pulled me right in. And I was in the Northwest, so I was listening to other bands like, Built to Spill, or there was a great band called Hammerbox out of Seattle. And then, of course, all the bands that we know and love, like Soundgarden and Nirvana and such. All of those groups and many more, influenced me. And then REM, I'm just talking about 90s groups, I guess. But yeah, if it takes you somewhere, then you just want to keep going with it and dig in.
Isn't that
Like I like, oh God, yeah.
no? Sorry, I keep interrupting you. I was just gonna say, isn't it amazing when that happens? I mean, it's such a spiritual kind of cool when you find a band and then you connect with the music, and it really kind of takes over your everything, as you listen.
Yeah, I mean that's how it was for me growing up with Led Zeppelin, for example. Like I just the Beatles, right? And then, there's bands now that been around for a long time, like I don't know, Nada Surf, for example. There's a band that's been around for a while. with Spotify, for example, I mean, not that I'm trying to promote Spotify, but I do use it, and you can just go and listen to every single song. If you didn't have it on vinyl or cassette or whatever, 8-track, it's all there now. So you can just go on a journey with some groups, some of the guys in the band, Ken, my guitarist, he's a big vinyl guy. So he just gets his vinyl and he gets
Is
his
he a
stereo.
vinyl snob? Does he does he shame you for Spotify?
I think maybe, yeah, I would say you have to answer that himself. But he has a hi-fi, system in his house. And so
That's where we go for when we listen, right?
yeah, exactly. But only play the album once, because you can't play it again, because now it has to go back in its case. But
So you said you talked about a journey, or the journey that music takes you. And I know you had a journey, Pacific Northwest, Massachusetts, Boston, New York. You've been all over the place, and we do have to take a break. But where where did you guys set out to go? Where was the journey? What did you want to accomplish? Did you guys have a list of priorities when you started the Devil Love?
yeah, I think, it actually grew out of like my solo music, because I was putting out music on my own before Devil Love. And then I got some of these guys to start working with me. And then as we became more focused on what we were doing, I personally didn't feel comfortable just calling the group like Peter Buzzelle solo record or whatever. So what I wanted to do is actually just form a group around the music that we were doing. So that's when we decided to name the band Devil Love and become more of a band focused project, um and just focus on the music more than anything. This anything beyond that is sometimes hard for musicians to kind of make it something more, I think, but that needs to happen. Absolutely. I need to be talking to folks like you today to let people know what we're doing. We don't live in a vacuum. So to answer your question, go ahead. Yeah.
Listen to it, that which we're about to play the first song, but yeah, continue. I keep interrupting. I always feel like
Oh, yeah. No, I
interrupted.
think just as a as a musician, I think I can't speak for all musicians, but for myself as a musician, I just want to play music, but there's a lot of other aspects involved in it. So to answer your question, as a band, we would like to have more people hear us and enjoy it and share it and come to see us when we perform, and listen to our music, purchase the music, I suppose. We were able to get connected with Justine Koval at Red on Red Records out of Boston a couple years ago. So we have her support now, and she is a mover and a shaker in the Boston music scene. She has a full roster of groups that she, supports, puts out their music, puts out shows, and puts showcases together. So we're very happy to be involved in that, and that's given us like a more of a local, presence. I think if we could get ourselves together a little more, we would like to get out and perform beyond Boston, which we haven't done. It's just a matter of kind of organizing ourselves to do that.
Right.
And
Everything else. But keep Peter, man. I love it. We're gonna play a first song here. Peter Buzzelle is my special guest today, frontman for Devil Love. We're playing 7 songs throughout this interview today from Devil Love, which is available now. You can find it on Spotify and Bandcamp. And unless I'm wrong, I'm going to continue to promote that. What most of the musicians tell me is that Bandcamp, if you buy an album, go to Bandcamp, that they get most of, they get a good portion of the money that belongs to them as artists for creating this great music. And also a great way to support is buy their merch. Go to their website. Devil Love's sophomore record was just released in February, self-titled. Devil Love released Red on Red Records out of Boston, Massachusetts. Stay tuned as we world premiere the new single, What We Got. You can find Devil Love on their socials, on their website is probably the quickest. You go there, you find everything. It's devilloveband.com. But I'm going to give them out Anyway, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, Facebook, all Devil Love Band. On YouTube, Devil Love Band, and Bandcamp, devillove.bandcamp.com. You can find them on Spotify. We're going to take you to break right now with Straight to You by Devil Love. And when we come back, we're going to come back with Better, and Peter can tell us about these songs. We'll be right back. Enjoy.
I got one question I think you ought to throw in there, just real brief. What is it about Boston, or in this case, because you talked about Seattle, these particular places, how is it that they have become these meccas? Is there something in the water?
Why don't you want to ask?
All right.
All right. We'll come back.
Okay.
But first, let me, do you want to say anything about the songs, or just let them sink in and people, is there anything?
The music speak for itself, right? I mean,
Some guys like to talk about it. Some are like, just listen. It's there, take it, interpret it your own way. I don't know if you wanted to say anything about those two, but I just wanted to give you the opportunity if you did.
I'm all set. Ready?
Okay, we'll come back right now.
Yeah.
Welcome back to Jeremiah Show. That was a great song, Better by Devil Love. Peter Buzzelle is my special guest today, frontman for Devil Love. Check him out on devilloveband.com. Welcome back, Peter.
Thank you.
Dr. D had a question for you.
Yeah. You two have talked about what would be considered the Mecca. Some say New York, some say Los Angeles. What is it
Mecca
about
for music?
Yeah, for music. What is it about Boston, or because you mentioned Seattle, that grows the type of music that comes out of those areas, that fosters the kinds of bands that are there? What do you think?
I don't know if I'm qualified to answer that question. However, I'll just, from my outside perspective, like I said before, it's very diverse here. There, and in regards to the music, and it's like I said, I lived in the Northwest. I actually lived in Los Angeles for a while, and I spent time in both those areas doing music. So coming to Boston, I actually felt the most intimidated here when I first started out in this area. Even though I was born here, I just was like so overwhelmed by the amount of talent, I get what I would say, and diverse music. And all of it is on a level of creativity that is, I find to be very top level, whether the musicianship is amazing or just the creative spark around it. And I think I've seen Boston kind of go through some changes. I mean, after COVID, of course, some of the clubs have kind of gotten hit, and so they're not as many clubs as there were, but we're sort of re-energizing now, and there's a new focus on getting clubs up and running again. And we're actually, I think I mentioned to you before, Jeremiah, we're playing in the Boston Rock and Roll Rumble, so that's a long-standing Boston music tradition of goes back 40 years. Some famous bands like Till Tuesday, I know we're involved in it. And so we were able to be involved in that this year after a 3-year hiatus. So that's happening in April, and that's like a month-long, basically, festival performance. It is essentially a competition. One band actually does win, but that's not the focus. It's more just a community building event. And so that's Angel Wood out of Boston Emissions and Boston radio station here. She's been doing it for quite a while. So that's something that has gives Boston something to kind of grab onto, and the support around that, and the local music scene, in clubs and such.
You guys just the fans voted. Tell us what happened.
How we ended up in that event. So yeah, it is selective. So it's based on what bands do over the previous year, if their music is out and fresh, and are they getting promoted on Angel's radio station, and she kind of curates that and makes a decision on who is involved. So the preliminary for the event start in April, and it goes over 6 nights and then each night a band like wins the night out of 4 bands, and then those bands go on to like a semifinal, and then there's a winner. It's like a rumble, like a crown. You're crowned rock and roll, rumble winners. So kind of neat. Like it's so we're super psyched to be involved in that, and like we have to put together like a very tight half an hour set, right? So we're like, okay, we're gonna play half an hour, and we're just gonna do our thing, and and that's it. It's a cool way for the band to kind of focus ourselves. In a way that maybe we wouldn't, like we have to really, be ready to go, and like boom, time to perform.
You said about your career, quote you, a decimated trail surrounds me, but I've been built not to fail. I think it's a lyric. Explain this drive that you have to create just such great music. Just explain that lyric or that statement, if you could.
Yeah, I think that if I go back to that is me living in Oregon when I was younger and needed to leave it behind. I knew it was that time when my life was over and I needed to move on, and I had other plans. I had other things ahead of me, which now I'm living now. I mean, I have a family and a beautiful wife and 2 beautiful girls. So that lyric is kind of a throwback to where I was at that point. I might have pulled it out of some, diary book or lyrics, and kind of just, and and the visual I have in that when you brought that up is just driving through, some, back road in Oregon, and just contemplating my existence, and knowing that existence was going to be changing soon. So, yeah.
In your journey, through in life and music, what things stand out that have actually stood in your way? It seems like most of the time, the obstacles we face are self-imposed.
Yeah.
There are obstacles from outside our control or your control. What are some of the things that stood in your way as a musician, as an artist, but that you overcame?
I mean, you hit the nail on the head with that. It's definitely yourself, right? Especially as like an artist or somebody who wants to express their inner feelings, as apparently I do. Like, okay, I want to put my heart on my sleeve and say to you all, hey, this is how I feel, and these are the lyrics, these are my feelings, and I'm going to play a song, and you're going to be moved. It's like that's like pretty like involved just right there, what I just said, and to go there and to do that, and then to do it in a way where people actually react, because apparently that's what I want to have happen. I haven't quite quantified that yet, to be honest, Jeremiah. That's a really good question to ask somebody who does music. But for me, I take it pretty seriously. I laugh because I think about like an interview with like, I don't know, like Bono, for example. Bono, of all people, something I read years ago, like somehow he, like, their music's very serious. Like they got something to say. They Sunday Bloody Sunday, New Year's Day. Those, when I was like younger and I heard that music, that just moved me in a way that like I was like, this is like, wow, like how the way I feel listening to this. I didn't really even know I was, a young man, but I wanted to do that, and I wanted it to be that powerful the way I felt. I wanted to do the same thing. I didn't want it to. I don't really necessarily want to party. I'm not like a party musician, right? Like you could probably get that from listening to me talk. I have a passion about what I'm doing. So for me, music is a serious presentation of emotions, which is, it kind of makes me laugh and chuckle, because a lot of musicians, that isn't necessarily what it is. And music that I love isn't necessarily what it is. It's like, this is just awesome music and they're jamming. But for me, I'm trying to grab somebody. I don't even know what, but like on an emotional level, I suppose. So I don't know if that makes any sense.
Natural, or are you really you're saying you really are focused on that? I could feel that you're serious. I led with that. I said it made me sit up. I'm listening, I'm enjoying it, but I'm like, oh, I want to come to this interview for you, because you came to the music. You put it all in you and your bandmates put it all in this album, and that doesn't come easy. I know it's not, that you guys created something really that made me feel as the host or the interviewer here that I need to come with it too and take this serious. You are a serious musician, and your band. Oh, we got to take another break, Peter. And darn, the clock's always running out too quick. I'm going to take a real quick break, and we're going to come right back. We're going to go out with Gold Currency, another one that I really love, and we'll be right back. Okay, I'm going to just come back, Richard. So we got 8 minutes. So I got 8 minutes. So Peter, I've got a billion questions, but just know in the back of your mind that I got to take one more break, right?
Yes.
Okay.
And so I'm going to come back, ask one question, then we're going to go to break, then we're going to come back, and we're only going to probably have 4 minutes or something like that. So if you want, I've got a lot of questions. We could do kind of a rapid fire thing. Like I'll throw them at you. Some of the ones I'm trying to get a real good. I want the new fans and myself to get a real good kind of first.
I'm here for you. I'll keep it short.
All right, let's do it.
Yeah.
No. 3, 2, 1.
Welcome back to the Jeremiah Show. My very special guest today is in Boston. We are continuing to explore the Boston music scene. Devil Love, Peter Buzzelle, new 7 songs we've been playing throughout. You're probably in love with them now by now, like I am. Go to their website, devilloveband.com, and support them in the tours, merch, and buy the album. Really great album. You need to live with this one a little while. You need to spend some time with it for sure. Peter, welcome back.
Thank you.
So, you're gonna have to come back. We're running out of time here already. Is there an overarching theme to this album?
Oh, geez, man. Yeah, you want overarching theme. This one is, it's definitely yeah, it is. There is a theme. So this album starts out with this one actually oh gosh. Can we do another take on this or something?
I can move on if you just want to let the listener figure.
So like I think it was almost like it's like such a big question. I don't even know how to answer that.
Like God, when you give the answer, you're giving away what they may find on their own. You know what I mean? So
No, I mean, it's like I was just like, I don't even know where to start with that question. It's such a great question. It really is. It's a wonderful question to ask somebody who creates music. And there's so many things. Like when you said that, I was just like, I literally froze in my mind because I don't know how to actually start, because it to me, it's like the way I create things. There's so many things that are in that record. And I was like trying to think, okay, what were the songs? Okay, where do we start? Like the first song is like kind of like a political song. I'm talking about like like Down by the Seashore. I'm talking about like toxic, garbage in the ocean, right? And then by the end, it's like a love story where I've, come full circle with my life. So there's like, I don't know, probably put too much into it, but that's kind of where it goes for me. It's like, it's all things. Ugh, what a terrible answer, but that's it.
Oh, it's a good. What you guys don't know is that I in the commercial break, I said to Peter, I've got like 3 minutes, so I'm gonna ask you simple questions and just give me a quick answer, and then I did. Sorry, I set you up for that one.
That's all right.
All right, let's take a real quick break, and we're gonna come back. This is gonna be our final, and then we're gonna have final break. We're not gonna be gone long, but while we're gone, guess what you get to do? You get to listen to. We're gonna go out with Gold Currency, I think, right, Richard? And we're going to come back with We Can Leave Tonight. Wow. I love the simplicity of that title and all that it says in 4 words. We can leave tonight.
Yeah.
How have been in that such, we can just leave. We can just leave tonight and leave it all. Enjoy. We'll be right back.
Okay.
Yeah, I got Mariel Hemingway.
Yeah, they're all ready.
Yeah, they're all like stacking up for my 2:00 show.
All right.
I produce her show. So okay, here we go.
3, 2.
They can wait. I want Peter and I are hanging. Welcome back to the Jeremiah Show. Peter Buzzelle, Devil Love, is my special guest today, and he's going to have to come back. But I hope we have a long relationship. You've got the Jeremiah Show as your home every time you want to bring new music. I can't wait to hear it, and you bring it here. But we have to talk about your band. You've got to give a, and I know this is going to be hard to do in how many minutes? 3 minutes, Richard. But do the best you can, Peter. We've got to give them credit. These guys have worked. They're your guys, man. You guys have been together 10 years, and you guys have all created such a great album here. Tell me about them.
So we have Chuck Ferreira on drums. Chuck has been with me about 10 years. Chuck is in several other great Boston bands. He's in a band called Eddie Japan. He's in another band called the Shanghai Lows. Both really great groups. You should check them both out. He's a rock solid drummer. From Chuck, Chuck actually introduced me basically to the Northeast music scene. So I give him ultimate credit because he then brought in Ken on guitar, Ken Rothman, who has also been with me for almost 10 years now. And Ken and I work together on the guitar parts, and he's an amazing guitarist, very good melodic guitarist. And then from there we had a bit of a bass player turnover for a while, but we brought in Jason Raffi about 6 years ago. So he's been with us for quite a while, and him and Chuck just lock in. So it's a real joy to have them. We'll be in rehearsal, and the three of those guys will just start playing Rush or Yes. Or they did a whole Steely Dan performance in Boston a couple years ago, and just blew my mind. They had a group, I think it was almost 20 musicians on stage doing Steely Dan covers. It was unbelievable. So very blessed to have them.
Skunk's a big friend of the show. He's on quite a bit from.
Oh man, there's probably some recordings. There's definitely video recordings of it out there, and it's so yeah. Hats off to the three of those guys, and then also actually Josh Cohen, who is our keyboard player. He's the last to add on, and I mentioned Guster earlier. Actually, he was in Guster for many years as their touring keyboardist, and he's an incredibly talented recording engineer. And he actually mixed What We Got, which you're going to be playing or have played already. He did that in his own studio in Malden, Massachusetts.
All right, so set up this new single here, and we're going to have to say goodbye for now, but not for long. The new single we're premiering right now.
Yeah, What We Got is a lot. So that pretty much says it all. That just a shout out to my wife. It is. I love her, and What We Got is here, and it's all we need. So I wanted to write a song about it.
It's beautiful. Well, here it is. Peter, thanks so much for joining us. We're going to listen to What We Got right now, and you can find Devil Love on their website with all their socials, with you can get the band and pick up the album and all that stuff. Keep up with them. devilloveband.com. Peter, pleasure, man. Thanks a lot for your music.
Thank you, Jeremiah.
Communicate, but listen more and evolve. We'll see you next week.